I wanted to cover. Usually I just pick one. One was numbers and things are going in the industry, and there's anything going on with technology, I'd usually spread them out. But these are both cool, so I wanted to get them in and kind of just let you think them over and kind of how they impact your business a little bit. Let's start with USMTO. Going back, taking a look at our numbers from the end of November. Just to pull out from that what you think are as we look forward into the rest of 2021 and how things finish up at the tail end of 2020. Our November numbers were up 1.4% in November from November of the previous year, 2019. And why is that important? That's the first year-over-year improvement that we actually had in 2020. So as we came through to the end of the year and looked at how we were tracking, it really is kind of a positive sign for manufacturing, in that when we're in the early parts of the year in March, when the pandemic was really starting to set in, we were looking at the forecast for the year, it was pretty clear that most of the forecasters were thinking we'd be off somewhere in the 40 to 50% for the year based on the way things were going. And as we roll through the end of November and into December, we're tracking right now at about off by 18.7%. A lot better than 40 to 50%, showing the resilience of manufacturers, not only in what they were doing, kind of filling in the voids of where they were needed with PPE and other things relative to what was happening due to the pandemic, but also repositioning their businesses to be able to move into this difficult time and still find opportunities to grow their businesses. Manufacturing technology, we were key in automation. A lot of things were happening with new technologies, a lot of production that was still needed to support supply chain issues, and that really helped out, and manufacturers stepped up, and you can see it in those change in numbers. Also, we start to take a look at what does that look like then as you go forward. Well, we got to get through December to wrap up the year and kind of see where we are overall in those USMTO numbers. And December is probably going to be off a little bit because we're not going to have as many weeks working in December. A lot of people are taking advantage of shutdowns, automotive industries, others just using the holidays to kind of regroup, supply chain issues, getting components and things that were necessary. Some people with COVID not being able to come into work with restrictions. So I'm sure December's numbers will probably be off a little bit, but I think overall the year is going to end much better than what we thought, which puts us in a pretty good position as we roll into 2021. Federal Reserve already came out with some information recently where they are much more optimistic in the last month or so from where they were looking at 2021, which is good news. Oil prices for the first time since February of 2019 are over $50 a barrel, and there's a lot of manufacturers that are connected to things that happen in that area, of course, when it comes to energy and oil and gas. And so I think that's a good news, moving the needle in that direction. And part of that's also because, they expect travel to be picking up because, there's a lot more manufacturing going on. People are doing more, so those prices are going up, and that's good as well. So looking more positive in 2021 when it comes to manufacturing. Talking technology, switching channel for a second, a lot going on. I talk a lot about things that are happening with electronic vehicles. Sometimes I know it may be like, hey, Doug, will you leave it alone? But there's just so much that comes out, I think, that's interesting and impacts what's going on in our industry, because we typically do so much with combustion engines and we do so much with automotive and transportation. It gets to be pretty relative. So, Tesla stock going, crazy these days. You're pretty aware of that, of course. They recently got another big jump as they are doing some things, kind of outmaneuvering some of their Chinese competitors, and really keep pushing their stock up. When I take a look at VW over on the European side, in 2020 tripled their EV sales, tripled. And of course, they're trying to get ahead of EU regulations that are coming up that are going to mandate more EV penetration in the marketplace, but their numbers are up quite a bit. And one of the bigger ones here in the US, GM just announced the setup of their new subsidiary. So this is going to be a new subsidiary for EV trucks called BrightDrop. I'm not sure on the name, didn't study that a whole lot, not sure what that's all about, but BrightDrop is the new subsidiary, and they're putting some big money towards that. They're converting about $27 billion of their money and reserves into this EV ventures that they're working on. So pretty darn serious about it, and they're talking about releasing 30 new models by 2025, 30 new models by 2025, and that's in electric truck area. So pretty interesting. And just along those lines, when you talk about, that's GM, when you talk FCA, the old Chrysler, and look at Fiat Chrysler Automotive, they recently have made a technology partnership arrangement with Archer, and Archer is one of the big eVTOL companies. So we're talking about electric, takeoff and landing vehicles, so kind of like those hovercraft type things. And so they're looking at, how they can help in that investment area, which is pretty interesting. Cadillac did a similar thing as well. GS showing off their vision of what their tool would look like. And so when you think you kind of got things under control with this move to electronic vehicles, when you're thinking about four wheels on the ground, Tesla type of vehicle, hey, these guys are already on to applying the technology to autonomous flying vehicles that they're starting to make some headways on. So we got to keep watching what's happening with these changes in the marketplace, what's happening with transportation and the technology and manufacturing capabilities they need to be evolving some of these new transportation solutions. So just some things that are happening. Hope that's useful to you. Let us know if we can answer questions for you and support anything you're trying to do with your business as we move through 2021. And with that, I'll be back at you next week. And we're going to try the 2 o'clock time slot next week. So just FYI, be prepared. See what time works out best for you guys. All right. Have a good one.